It's a hot, hot day. No sign of my friends yet. It's still quite early in the morning though, and they're both having birthdays, one today and one tomorrow. Shadow, once again, in a bit of a mess. The same down below as it is on deck, but there is a reason. I'm doing maintenance, and under each couch on either side of the boat is a water tank. Together they hold about 200 litres. The water's pretty clear at the moment, but it has been very, very smelly and lots of sediment in it. So it's time to take the top off and have a look. That's what they look like without the couch all in place. I've got most of the nuts off already, but as you can see, there is an awful lot of fastenings. A lot of bolts to take off before I can get the top off, and that thing is all solid steel. It's going to weigh quite a bit. I have no idea what it's going to be like underneath, what horrors await me. Three hours later, and it's one of those jobs you wish you'd never started. Got the top off, and I counted 80 bolts holding on, and that's like, oh, it's more than quarter plate. I don't know what it is. That's 6 mil or something. That it weighs a heck of a lot. It took some getting off, but there it is. There's the tank. Yeah, it's built into the boat. That there is the side of Shadow. The other side of that is the sea. So it's actually built into the hull. It's part of the hull, which I think is a stupid idea. In a plastic boat, fiberglass boat, maybe considered a feature for safety, because if you get a hole through your hull, it would fill up in the water tanks. It would contaminate your water, but it would stop your boat from sinking. But here it just rusts, and there is a lot of rust. I mean, it's just everywhere. I can't work out what is protective coating that's bubbled up and what's rust at the moment. But I think the plan here is to, at a later date, clean all this out and put in plastic water tanks. And that will solve an awful lot of problems. But what to do for today, I don't really know. We've got a 5-day passage over to the Dutch islands, and I need to secure the boat and get it ready for sea in a few days' time. And having huge tanks like this open is not part of the game plan. Well, what can I say? It's another hot, hot day here in Prickly Bay. The anchorage is reasonably calm, a bit blowy last night though, but it's so hot. Celebrating twin birthdays with the crew of Bella over there. No sign of them. I think they're still asleep, and I'm busy on my boat. The problem with the Caribbean is finding good food. I haven't seen fresh mushrooms for 4,000 miles now. They just don't exist out here because of the heat, I guess. You can get potatoes, so on and so forth, and some tomatoes and mangoes, but a lot of greens just not available, and bread is a problem, finding decent bread. So I've decided to make some, and I had a go with making bread years ago, and it just always ends in disaster. I just can't get the hang of doing it, so thought I'd give it another go. But so far, yet another failed attempt at making bread. See the dish there? I mean, that's just about edible, but I can't even get it off. And then the bread itself, I mean, it's just, oh dear, it's just awful. I have to throw that over the side. Goodbye bread, feed the fishes. In the dark recesses of the forward cabin, I'm trying again. There's a couple here. Hopefully they'll rise and I can put them in the oven. Attempt number 2. Well, it's early in the morning. I just made myself a cup of coffee. And yesterday I made another mix of bread, and nothing happened, so I just left it in the oven, just because the oven's a good place to leave stuff, to see what would happen. But as you can see, It didn't rise. It didn't rise yesterday all evening after I made the dough. And there's going to be lots of comments, but I mixed and kneaded. It looks a little bit rough because it's got grains in there. It's got full wheat or full something. I don't know what they are, what it's called. But yeah, and of course the yeast did all the things like you're supposed to do, and it hasn't even bothered to rise. So I'm not even going to try to cook that because it's not going to work. So that's again, and the idea here was it was a thin amount, so not thick, so it shouldn't be hard to cook through properly. So I don't know what's happening. I'm doing something wrong, but I don't know what. This morning, leaving Prickly Bay behind us, it's a Briscoe sail. There's a sailing boat there just passing in front of a fishing guy who's bobbing around in the water. Lucky I saw him. And we're just about to get into a squall, so I'm gonna have to go downwind. Can you see that? That looks nasty. Yeah, I'm cracking along under one sail. There's the foresail up there like that. And it's because going less than 10 miles, it's the 10-mile rule. Don't bother getting the mainsail out, it's too hard to work. And the guys are in front of me, Bella, but I'm looking at this bad boy coming along now. Can you see that? That is a squall. So I'm gonna have to put the camera down and head downwind if the wind speed picks up, because I do have full head sail out. Yeah, that wind speed's picking up. You don't always know what to expect with these squalls. It could be just a bit blowy, or it could be really vicious in there. But it's basically because we're getting into hurricane season now. You can't see them, but the guys are just over here. We're heading over down here, and this thing is just massive, big. I don't know what. You can't see the land behind it. The land is only a mile away. You can see it quite clear over here. So what's happening is I'm going to head downwind if that comes, because I haven't got time to take the head sail in. It looks like the guys have missed it. You can't see them. They're just a bit too far away, but they're just down from it. A couple of hours later, the squall actually turned out to be nothing at all. We got the foresail down, and we're motoring into this little bay that holds a secret, an underwater secret. Taken one of the mooring buoys here. That's the one behind us, and also behind us are some big rocks. Yeah, you never know with these just how good they are. These are set in 23 meters, so there's no way I can go check that. The reason it's mooring buoys and you're not allowed to throw an anchor over the side is because this area is a marine park with a very special secret. Creaky old sail. Up into the wind today. As usual, by the time I get the camera out, it's calmed down. We got the two foresails up. So we're like a cutter rig at the moment. To try and to point as high up into the wind as we can. And as you can see by the courtesy flag up there, we're pretty close. She's just come off it a little bit, but yeah, she keeps trying to luff up. She's as close to the wind as I can get her, and the reason being we have to be up there, slightly off to starboard. I don't know if you can see it, there's the island of Kariaku. It's been a long, slow trip. Having trouble getting the boat to go over 4 knots. There's one other boat over there. He and I think, are the last ones out here as the sun goes down. Yeah, back of the pack again. Good old Van der Stadt, slowest boats ever made. I remember a couple of years ago sailing up from Portugal. It was the same thing. Wind on the quarter over there, a little bit lumpy seas to harder weather than this. But the point being, I could never get the boat to go over 4 knots, and I don't know why. Yeah, my friends on Bella, they're already there, and by the time I get in, they'll be been there about 3 hours before me. And they made that up. I left before them, then they caught me up, and we had problems finding the wind, the north of Grenada. Then we sort of set off again. Oh shit! We set off again together. And they're going to be 3 hours ahead of me in a space of 20 miles. That's really bad for me. Good for them. And they must be hell of a good sailors, or I don't know, something's wrong. But this old bus, she's a great boat in rough weather, but sailing into the wind, in a rough sea, she just won't have it. Of course, she's got a dirty bottom at the moment. There's a lot of growth down there and stuff, which doesn't help. But she's plodding along, and the great thing is she's actually sailed a straight course today. No problems, just straight all the way. So I need to be down there, so I'm gonna have to do a tack at some point to get myself close to the island, because I'm literally sailing past it. I'm downwind, there's currents on me, and I'm right on the edge. I can't come over any further. And if I tack, I'm going to be going down there. Yeah, I'm over here, and I need to tack into there. That angle's not exactly correct. I'm going more like that, so I'm going to miss the island if I tack now. I'm going to have to wait till I'm a bit further up.
Next time on Adventures of an Old Seadog.
Other history of breaking toes on boats and stuff like that, and the nails half off, and that really, really bloody hurts. And I'm leaving, and there's a friend I made who just won't let me go. Mate, you've got to let... He's trying to pull the boat back. I'm trying to pull the boat. I've got to go. You've got to let me go, mate.
If you'd like to support the Old Seadog, please check out our Patreon page. For real-time updates, find us on Facebook. Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to give us a thumbs up and subscribe.